Generative engine optimization is incorrect. It should be generative engine orientation, GEO, the term that's been coined for modern SEO. It's 2D in a world that is increasingly becoming 4D. So after a decade of practice, building the content engine, our marketing systems behind kiteboarding, implementing these ideas and these systems across multiple industries from law to plumbers to veterinary clinics, I've come to understand a few timeless truths about business and the way things are moving with LLMs deciding who the answer is. We're moving towards a search without clicks environment, and the truth is, in the messy middle, trust is also messy. So what this video serves, as well as my work regarding the laws of GEO and the character profile framework, we're in a post-SEO era. AIO, GEO, pick your acronym. This is the end of optimization thinking, and I'd like to put out a tactical guide for search without clicks when the only tactic that's left is your character. So regarding the laws of GEO, we have some tier 1 foundational laws. These basically define the physics, so if we break them, nothing else really works. Law number 1, orientation over fear. The principle is systems that reduce uncertainty always outperform systems that manufacture urgency. Fear can convert fast, but it decays trust, while orientation compounds trust and it trains the model. AI is going to reward entities that explain reality and don't distort it. If you're confused on entities, look up my work on the character profile. So the failure mode here is, if your content requires confusion to sell, the system is going to route around you. I like to use the bad fit as an example. So I used to use this approach when I was doing comparison videos. I did what everybody was avoiding. I told people when a product was a bad fit for them. So if you can clearly define who should not buy, you're demonstrating you understand the system well enough to draw boundaries. That boundary demonstrates expertise. A bad fit clarity filters the wrong customer. It builds immediate trust with the right ones. Most marketing likes to hide the trade-offs to protect the conversion. Orientation surfaces them to protect understanding. When you explain the mechanics honestly, the user stops asking, is this a good fit? And they start asking if this is right for me. That changes everything. Recursive perspective and information gain. Orientation requires recursion. Now, people used to joke about how I would talk in circles in my videos, but the truth is, I was explaining things from numerous frames, different perspectives, so people could understand and not get locked into one single train of thought. So, approach your products, your services, your ideas from every angle. Talk about the performance, the constraints, the edge cases, the failure modes, the context. You're not repeating for volume. You've got to repeat to give them new perspective. Recursion is what produces information gain. It gives Google's natural language processors something it cannot extract from shallow summaries. It forces the customer to think while deciding. This is what Google calls the messy middle. They need to oscillate to understand. If you walk them through this process, you are building trust. Trust is built in 4D. Trust is not a 2D optimization. It's a 4D thing that happens over time as humans and machines evaluate signal. Law number 2, reciprocity creates gravity. So the principle, value freely given trains the system to associate your entity with resolution. Withholding insight fragments trust. Giving away your best thinking, it increases the demand pull. So authority emerges through service, not funnels. The failure mode here. If your model depends on gating understanding, you are signaling extraction. That's going to be a big concept to understand through these frameworks. Law 3, character precedes content. The principle, AI evaluates the entity before the artifact. Pages do not rank. Entities are recommended. Incentives, behavior, history all collapse into a single model. So, the idea is misaligned entities fade quietly, not loudly. So the failure mode. If your incentives drift, visibility decays without warning. Tier 2, validation laws. These basically determine whether the system believes you. Law number 4, reality is the highest gain signal. The principle, physical world interaction produces information that cannot be easily fabricated. First-hand experiences create durable authority. Doing under constraint generates signal. Synthetic expertise collapses under synthesis. The failure mode. If you cannot point to a real-world execution, you're an echo. I like to say, stay in the dirt. Law 5. Doing creates information gain. New knowledge must be generated, not summarized. So if you think about it, in a world of AI copies, a copy of a copy of a copy is always filtered out. The system is hunting for the deltas, the gap between what's known and what you can bring to the table. Video accelerates trust because it's expensive to fake. I'm actually recording this video to stake a claim to my ideas. Failure mode. If you're not producing new insight, the system has no reason to cite you. Tier 3, the execution laws. These govern how authority compounds over time. GEO law number 6, stay in the dirt. The principle, distance from execution destroys predictive alignment. Leadership entropy follows abstraction. So the AI is going to favor entities close enough to feel the shift. Orientation always beats consensus. Failure mode. If you manage outputs but not craft, you're going to lose velocity. This is a little abstract, but the core idea is the more you move away from the work, the less you can provide new experiences and insights. So titles, status, citations, those are all proxies for authority that the AI model is trying to understand. You have to be about it. You have to live it. You have to document the messy journey and share what you bring that's new to the table if you hope to stand out in a world of search without clicks. GEO law number 7, service over status. The principle, authority is earned through usefulness, not appearance. So, as I said, proxies, links, word count, they're all vaporized. Utility survives the synthesis. Context beats credentials. The failure mode. If you optimize for optics instead of outcomes, you're going to be skipped. GEO law number 8. Add to the conversation or disappear. So the principle here is information gain is the only surviving currency in the AI landscape. Echoes are filtered, while primary sources become the nodes. Silence is actually safer than noise. What's the failure mode? If you do not change the conversation or add to the conversation, you will become invisible. Tier 4, navigation laws. These explain how to move forward without losing direction. Law number 9, data orients, experience accelerates. The principle here is data shows where you are, experience determines where you're going. Think of it like this. Data is the compass, experience is the gas pedal. Velocity comes from doing, not observing. The failure mode is if you wait for consensus, you arrive last. We're seeing this now at the end of the cycle of SEO. Everybody is following the data in a world where the machine is looking for the leaders who are making the data. Law number 10, alignment compounds while extraction resets. So the principle is systems built on alignment accumulate trust, while extractive systems leak it. Alignment increases visibility without force, while extraction, it requires constant pressure. The system is going to route towards durability. So the failure mode. If growth depends on pressure, collapse is baked in. Took me years to understand this, 1 week to map it out. I became aware of watching numerous industries where I could see the outside forces impact the fate of that company, whether it was new investors coming in, hemorrhaging cash, watching that business use that cash to create a system that created meaning, it created products, it gave purpose to people. Then comes the demand for ROI. Once that happens, these companies realize it may or may not be profitable. The system collapses. The people who are working for the company all get fired, repositioned. And I've seen this happen numerous times. Extractive systems collapse. Expansive systems that invest compound. So why does this hold up in the AI overview real estate? Well, 10 years ago, I planted the questions, I talked about the trade-offs, I oriented instead of extracting, and what I found is many of my old videos and pages, they are now dominating search generative experience panels. If you can imagine having an entire panel regarding a product category and a brand where the first link all of the featured snippets and the AI answers pulling from content from 2018 through 2020 and citing it. So you need to do what your own production line is proving. If you're not generating new knowledge through direct experience, you become an echo in this new AI landscape. This is why video matters. Information gain is literally water in the desert of a charred AI output. It's the cleanest signal of information gain, and as AI is shifting towards answers without clicks, this really matters. Google, it's the gateway to every LLM and every customer. We can't ignore this bridge. So every piece of in-the-dirt video you publish, it becomes training data for that AI to answer your customers or even tomorrow's CEO's questions. So if you're not in the training data, you don't exist.